Aloha friends, it's Maureen Gary, nutrition coach, personal trainer, and someone dedicated to helping you age as well as possible so you have the longest, healthiest life that you can. I want to tell you about a new study that just came out. It's about diet, it's about combining different types of macros in different amounts, and it was interesting because it showed, well, let me get into it with you and I'll tell you. It is entitled Dietary Protein and the Glycemic Index Handle Insulin Resistance Within a Nutritional Program for Avoiding Weight Gain After Energy Restricted Induced Weight Loss. Big long title. Well, what that means is they took the participants through a weight loss phase. They took people with high BMI. They said, okay, we're going to put you on a low calorie diet. They counted calories. 800 calories a day, 8 weeks. They wanted to see if they could lose 8% of their body fat. And whoever made it through the hurdle at 8 weeks of losing 8% or more of their body fat was then advanced into the next part of the study. If it wasn't at least 8%, then they didn't go on. The next part was when they adjusted all the macros. And this was a half a year, 6 months, 26-week study, portion of the study. And it was a 2x2 design, which means that there were 2 variables and they flopped them around like on a square. The high protein, low glycemic index was 1 square. High protein, high glycemic index was another square. Low protein, high glycemic index was another square. And low protein, low glycemic index was another square. So you can see that you just play with the variables. Now, the interesting thing that happened at the end of all this intervention, I should say what the differences in the protein were. So the high protein was 25%, low protein was 13% of calories. And then the glycemic index, they designed the diets for them. This was ad lib, you could eat as much as you wanted, but they made sure the low glycemic index was at least 15 points lower on the glycemic index scale than the high glycemic. So, high glycemic it's going to be more like more carbs, more sugars, more things that are going to be shooting your blood glucose up. Low glycemic index is going to be less of that. So the end result of all this intervention was that there was no difference between control, the low protein, low glycemic index combo, and the high protein, high glycemic index combo. They were a wash. There was no change virtually. They were just minuscule little change. And the only significant finding in this entire study, and they took a ton of information on variables. So it was really granular, but they only found one thing that changed between the groups, and that was the BMI. And in the BMI, control, low glycemic and low protein, plus high glycemic and high protein, those 3 didn't really change at all. They were all basically the same. Then you go on to the other ones where there's opposites. So if you get the low protein, high glycemic, those guys gained in their BMI. And then you go to the other one, which was the high protein and low glycemic. That was the only group that lost weight in this 6-month period. Statistically significant amount. That lowered their BMI. So that tells you you've got to have the combo of the high protein and the low glycemic index, which could be said to be low carb because you're probably pretty much going to drop the sugar if you drop carbs. That's the combo that over the long term is going to give you ongoing weight loss. You're not going to gain back the weight that you lost had you gone on a diet that you lost weight. And it's going to work better than just going back to same old, which was the control diet. Or going to a low protein and low glycemic. If you're just watching the carbs and saying, hey, I'm really low sugar, I'm totally watching my carb intake and my sugar intake, but you're not getting enough protein, it might as well just, don't expect any weight loss. Don't expect your BMI to go down. You're probably not going to lose in the BMI category. Same if you go back to, if you say, hey, I'm really eating a lot of protein, I'm really doing my thing with protein, but yet you're still having sugar and higher glycemic index foods, you're probably not going to see any change in your BMI. You're probably going to gain weight. Bottom line, if you want to lose weight, keep it off. Combination, high protein, low glycemic, and usually when I say high protein, it's 25 or higher. You can figure that out, what that means to you. We'd like to take weight and have grams per kilogram of body weight is really a better way to go for a target. But conventional, if they want to compare study against study, it's been percentage of diet for such a long time that they're in that world. The researchers are saying, let's make it an absolute number that you have to go for based on your body weight. And that's a better target. But given that all the studies are in the percentages, they're sort of living in that world for now. Anyway, you want to make sure that you got a good high protein level, and then you keep all those carbs down, all those sugars down, all that stuff that's going to shoot your blood glucose up, the high glycemic index foods. That's your best strategy for taking your weight off and continuing to lose weight. Because it's a long-term play, right? This is not something that just happens. Mostly for most people, it doesn't happen in 6 months and it's done. It goes time, years, 2 years, 3 years, who knows how many years before you finally get to your goal. It just depends on how much you have to lose. But a very highly satisfying diet, and one that will continue to have you losing weight over time, is the higher protein, lower glycemic index. All right, that's it. That's all I want to say for today. I hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you like this, hit the like button. If you want to share it, hit the share. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Please tell your friends. I'd love to have more people understanding how they can work with their bodies as we age to get the best out of our lives, because we want to keep living our full lives every day possible. All right, again, I'm Maureen Gary. Thanks for spending your time with me, and I'll see you again soon. Aloha.